From the New York Post, Democrats' unfavorability rating reaches new 16-year high as party keeps licking its wounds following disastrous 2024. Phil had this post. We have no coherent message. Democrats struggle to oppose Trump. More than 50 interviews with Democratic leaders revealed a party struggling to decide what it believes in, what issues to prioritize, and how to confront an aggressive right-wing administration. I just want to make it simple for everybody. There is, let's count. Just Tulsi Gabbard, she was a Democrat. RFK Jr., he was a Democrat. Donald Trump, he was a Democrat. Who else do we have? You know, basically, they're calling it an aggressive right-wing administration that's led largely by a bunch of moderates.
Yeah,
they don't understand that they are the extremist lunatics, and they need to moderate. Instead, what did they do? They voted David Hogg as their vice chair. They've lost the plot.
Yeah. That's a great point. The fact that they made David Hogg the vice chair. We talked about this a little bit earlier. The DNC, when they were doing the voting, they did a land acknowledgement. There were people were talking about what gender you were allowed to vote for. If I understand correctly, you were not allowed to vote for 2 men or 2 women. You had to vote for 1 man and 1 woman. You weren't allowed to vote.
What about 2 women?
I know I couldn't. I don't think you could do that either.
Oh.
I think you had to have like some kind of non-binary or something. I could have misheard.
You had to vote for 1 man and 1 woman.
Yeah, you couldn't vote for 2
like
men.
marriage to me.
I could have misheard because it sounded like the people that were actually reading the rules at the DNC convention were confused as well. So I might have misheard or might have misunderstood. But the point is, they're still doing the same things that turn people off. If they do this stuff and they have policies that are working, most people will be like, I don't care, whatever, right? Until your child is confronted with a man and, until your daughter is confronted in the bathroom with a man, for the most part, most people will be like, nah, it's not that big of a deal. And they're like, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't affect me. Until it becomes personal. But when they're doing this stuff and they're mismanaging the government, when they're doing this stuff and you have inflation, when they're doing this stuff and you have an economy that's not doing well, when they're doing this stuff and there are actual tangible problems, these things become important.
Like no water in your fire hydrants.
Like no water in your fire hydrants.
If I was Trump or if I was one of these billionaire conservative donors, I would be getting my team together and plotting and planning on how we can start to make California purple.
Do you listen to the All In podcast at all?
I do every now and then.
Yeah, I listen to it like every week.
It's good.
And those guys were
Mark Halperin and Sean Spicer.
No, that's two-way. Mark Halperin's new platform. The All In podcast is Chamath. I forget what his last name is.
Oh, yes,
Jason.
yeah.
One of the guys is now on Trump's team. He's the crypto and AI guy. David Sachs, yes. But these guys were all former Democrats, right? They were all Silicon Valley guys. And they're all like Chamath and Sachs had an actual legit fundraiser for Trump. They have all seen what the Democrats are doing. People like Mark Andreessen, who's also I think he was an early investor in PayPal. He was great. But these guys were all staunch Democrats, and they've seen the way that the government has been behaving and the way that the government has been stifling innovation and stifling new technologies.
After the RFK Jr. hearing, I was watching that, and this was last week, right? Because I'm like sitting in the couch, unable to talk or open my mouth, watching this hearing, and I just thought these people are evil. Mm-hmm. Like RFK Jr. is moderate on a lot of these issues. Yeah. If you go to any LA, if you go to like what's that neighborhood called? We got Electric Avenue or whatever. They all these hippy dippy leftists wearing their sundresses and like refusing modern medicine and doing their holistic crystal woo woo stuff. Those are Democrat voters, and they're being told they're stupid and they're wrong. When RFK Jr., who's not even as far as them, is saying we should have more rigorous science on vaccines. They go, oh, you're a crazy person. I saw so many tweets from people being like, that's it, I'm done. I can't believe the Democrats would say something like this. I'm disgusted. Mm-hmm. There are Democrats who are wokish, who are liberal, who hate Trump, and very much say Big Pharma's screwing us over.
Yes.
And then they go to RFK and they attack him, and tons of other Democrat voters are just like, I'm out.
The Maha movement is like the most beautiful new addition to the MAGA movement. I mean, it is the most popular aspect that they've added on, and it's so copacetic.
Yeah.
because it flows with all of the opposition to the trans stuff. It's beautiful. Republicans, and I'm telling you, it's not the Democrats that are going to kill RFK Jr.'s nomination. It's Republicans. And those Republicans better watch out, because I'm telling you, there's so many of these moms that are heavily involved in the Republican primaries. Here's looking at you, Bill Cassidy. You don't want to mess around with these people. You're out if you kill this nomination. He's the most popular. Remember the Turning Point rally that they had where they announced that he was endorsing Trump? That was a huge gain of momentum for us.
Yep.
This is the Kennedys making right for all of the Catholics that they misled into the Democratic Party, right? That's what this is. It's beautiful.
What are they worried RFK is going to do?
He's going to screw over Big Pharma.
And all of these people who are paid by Big Pharma are obviously...
Even Bernie. So Bernie Sanders got so mad about this because RFK pointed out he's the largest recipient of Big Pharma dollars. And he goes, not from CEOs, just from the people who work there. It's like, okay, dude.
Unreal.
Who are all making so much. It's not like, he's acting like these are like blue collar job or workers at Big Pharma that are cutting him paychecks. No, these are like people that are making high 6 figures, 7-figure salaries.
It doesn't even matter. The point is, Bernie, I got a question. How come so many people who work for Big Pharma want to give you money, Bernie? Honest question. Could it be that under your policies of getting rid of the insurance companies and giving single payer, they're going to go on government contracts they'll never break? Could it be that they're going to essentially start functioning like USAID, where the government just writes them a $20 billion check? They can pay themselves because they're private entities getting government money forever, and they'll never have competition ever again because the government's going to give them infinite cash? Maybe that's why the people who work there are like, I want to donate to this guy. And he's the #1 recipient. And he was like, no, not from the CEOs.
Yeah, like
And it was like, it was only 1.5 million out of 200 million.
the fact that it didn't come from the CEOs doesn't change the fact that he got all that money from people in pharma. Like, you don't have to be a CEO.
This is what the game the Democrats try to play, because they know that the average person doesn't follow the news. They go like, you know that Donald Trump is increasing your taxes, and you're like, how? With the tariffs. What does that mean? And Democrats go, tariffs are a tax on you. And it's like, okay, well, that's not necessarily true. Taxes are going to be on the people importing, and the assumption is they'll raise the cost of the price of the product to cover the cost of the tariffs. However, because of market forces in the United States, that may not actually be true.
Yep.
If there's 2 coffees and one comes from Canada and one comes from the United States, and there's a 25% tariff, that means that $10 bag of coffee in Canada is now $12.50. So the company says, to absorb the cost of the tariff, we're going to raise the price at $12.50. Good luck. The American coffee is still $10. Mm-hmm. So you can raise the price. What's going to happen? The company is going to say, if we raise the price, we will not be competitive in the marketplace. So we're going to have to, we're going to eat it. So our margins are going to go down. And if they can't afford it, they might not even sell to the United States anymore. It's not a guarantee they're going to raise taxes on you. But Democrats are lying, saying all of those taxes will be on you. No, that's the game they play. They use assumptive language to trick you into thinking the wrong thing.
Well, how about the slow sucking sound that took all of our manufacturing jobs away over the last 30 years? I mean, there are other costs besides. I'm willing to pay a little bit more for my coffee or my tables or my clothing if it means my neighbors have jobs still, and that they aren't humiliated and told by Joe Biden that they need to learn how to code after getting kicked out of their coal mine.
Well, it's funny because we've talked about this forever. Like I've before the election, I'm ranting on free trade and I'm talking about how our jobs have been extracted 4 years ago, longer. I'm talking about how Trump threatens a tariff on Mexico and the auto manufacturers come back to Michigan. Biden gets in and they rip it off and they go back to Mexico. It was crazy, the back and forth they were doing. We've talked about how we as Americans are willing to pay more for American-made products because it's better for our culture, our economy, and our children's future. And I made the point, we launched Booney's HQ well before the election. Booney's HQ skateboards are made in America. We sell them at a cheaper price. We give a better royalty to our pro riders. We make profit. And we were told we would make an additional like $10 per board if we sold Chinese-made boards. I said, no, we want to invest in America. Donald Trump coming in and threatening tariffs. Now they're going, I thought you guys wanted cheaper eggs. And I'm like, well, buy chickens. Like, I am deeply concerned about the jobs in this country being extracted, and I am personally willing to pay more for American. That's always been the case. A great example is Mammoth Nation and Public Square. As if Trump supporters and MAGA and populists were not actively building industries around supporting American-made products.
Mm-hmm. No, it's obvious. Like, they just wanted to keep their gravy train running. Their campaign, the Democrats' campaigns are all funded by the major corporations that don't want to have to worry about restructuring or changing anything in their business. They just want the profits to keep coming through. The Democrats are now both the party of big corporations and big government. You're starting to see a bit of a shift from big corporations. They're starting to come back to the Republican side after Trump won, but I don't know how long that's going to last, actually.
I mean, I don't know how long it's going to last either.
Man, this as the joke goes, this past week was a hell of a year. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.